Welcome to Android Authority on Air, the original Android Hangout show on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
And I am Scott Anderson.
Thanks for joining us again this week, Dan Charlton and Jonathan Franklin. We love having you guys here.
Always nice to be here.
All right, so a lot of stuff happened this week in the world of Android. We're going to talk about some Android ecosystem stuff, some stats, some numbers, a little bit of Google Plus stats. A whole bunch of Google apps got updated this week. We're going to talk about some OEM news. We're going to give away another Ingress code, and we're going to talk about some carrier news. T-Mobile made some interesting announcements today, as well as a few other carriers. So let's get started and talk about a little bit of Android ecosystem news. The Google Play Store got a private channel, a private section, for those of you that are using Google Apps. So this is specifically for corporate users or enterprise users. In the past, it was kind of clunky. You maybe you had to have an internal store, or you had to have an alternate method to get your maybe custom designed retail application or whatever you're using for your for your business. You would have to go and have a roundabout way to install those. So Google, being the amazing company that they are, said, hey, we're going to simplify this for you. We're going to go after business customers, and we're going to give you a private channel. So now Google Apps users can install applications directly from the Play Store for their own business. I said, that's huge, really. It is. It allows for Google to step into the enterprise and to step into the corporate world a little bit more, where Android really hasn't had the greatest footprint for management in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Google Apps is still, not obviously as prevalent as Microsoft in the business world, but they've made a huge dent in education, where a lot of schools have moved to Google Apps for education, mostly because it's free.
Yeah.
But this is also there for those accounts, and so for schools that are on that sort of system, students have Google Apps accounts, and so this could be a way for the universities to sort of distribute university-sponsored applications that are only available to students at that university.
So, well, besides universities, for the corporate world, where you have certain policies that you need to have in place, for security and mobile device security, because a lot of enterprises are moving towards a bring your own device model. So if you couple an easy way to install apps on your device with the already existing Google Apps device policy app that's out there, that's a very powerful tool. I'd like to see a lot of businesses start to to move to that. I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah. I think they're going to use it a lot, just to strictly limit certain apps and just say, hey, you can install these because they're pre-approved and they will be okay with our network, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
So moving on with some ecosystem news, let's talk about what Microsoft did to contribute to the Android ecosystem this week.
They've done this before.
Yeah, well, Microsoft is currently on a smear campaign towards Android and Google. They did the Scroogled thing recently.
Just Google.
Yeah. So this week, really Microsoft, or more importantly, Windows Phone, took to Twitter and said, do you have an Android malware horror story? Reply with #DroidRage with your best/worst story, and we may have a get well present for you. Basically saying, tell us how Android malware has ruined your life, and we're going to give you a brand new Windows Phone, most likely, if your horror story wins. So immediately, everybody said, hey, Kettle, how you doing? I'm the pot, because for how many years has Windows been plagued with malware? So immediately, social networks, Twitter, Google Plus, blew up with #WindowsRage, talking about all the bad things that Windows does, or replying with the hashtag that Microsoft wanted, DroidRage, but saying things like, hey, I downloaded this Android app. It must be malware. It was called Outlook.com from the Play Store, and it's the worst looking app I've ever seen.
There's no telling how many BSOD, blue screen of death.
Oh yeah,
DroidRage tweets
I
that
made
were
one, saying, "Hey, I was trying to download an app from the Play Store, on my computer, but it rebooted. Oops, what's this blue screen all about?
Downloaded a simple application and it installed 47 bars on my browser.
And they were all search. Yeah, they were all search bars where.
I've got like a 10 pixel amount of screen real estate after my toolbar showed up.
So
quick question about the dog in the background. Was that you, John?
I guess so.
Would you find that dog and make it stop?
It's my neighbor's dog. I can shoot it if you'd like.
Shoot, but don't kill it. Don't shoot to kill.
Just shoot
it in the knee.
Just shoot to scare it away.
Yeah,
just an arrow to the knee.
All right, so Microsoft completely backfired. I'm sure they got one or two. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure they got a couple replies. Maybe not. I personally have never heard of a Android malware horror story. I'm sure one exists out there.
There was some story I heard about of some lady whose child apparently had downloaded everything in the Play Store that had Hello Kitty in the title.
Oh, yeah.
And so it wasn't so much that it was actually malware, it was that she didn't know what was going on because her home screen was just filled with all of this Hello Kitty crap because it was set to automatically put widgets on the home screen.
There have been a couple of people. I haven't seen really a lot of malware complaints as much as I've seen people with like the notification ad spam. A lot of people that wrote Skyrim guides, almost every Skyrim like tutorial application would have the notification spam and try to use a lot of ads, and that's probably been the biggest complaint, but I wouldn't really lump that in with malware.
Yeah, people tend to not realize that there's a difference between malware and bad applications.
Yeah, and Google has
it's malicious.
And Google has went after the developer saying that this is not a good practice at all. This is not something we approve of. And
somebody, I saw a hashtag Droid Rage. It made me laugh. Somebody said I tried posting my new Android malware application to the Google Play Store, and it was automatically rejected by Bouncer Droid Rage. I mean, we had
a little bit more depth on that story. They continued to provide steps for Android horror stories. Step 1, wait for your Android phone to get infected with malware. Step 2, recover from SMS scam bill shock. Step 3, skip steps 1 and 2, buy a Windows phone and connect with people you care about instead of some hacker plotting in a dank basement.
Now, wait, Windows Phone said this on Twitter?
Mm-hmm. Yes, this was the precursor before Droid Rage.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot, just based upon not the smear campaign so much, but recover from SMS scam bill shock. Okay, if you as a user click on an SMS link that propositions valuable deals, you just need to have common sense and not have a smartphone. I'm sorry, but you do not.
That's not Android. You can fall victim to SMS scams on any platform that has SMS.
Yeah, but Google has taken more priority in that and trying to prevent that from people that just don't really understand it, and they're putting the block up, which is nice. It's a warning saying, hey, this might cost you something.
Yeah,
in the right direction.
That's a big.
I've forgotten that. In their target North American market, approximately 3% of users had ever been affected by malware on Android.
Yeah, it's
3%.
I think they kicked out like I think they kicked out a grand total.
Share, so that would be progress.
I think they kicked out a grand total of like 40-something applications during the entire year last year. So, it's really compared to a market that has like 700,000 applications. That's not a lot at all.
So, continuing on with Android fandom here, those of you that want to go to Google I/O, you'll be happy to know that the official dates have been confirmed, May 15th through the 17th. So here in a few more months, the next Google I/O.
Oh, just let viewers and listeners know we do have an ingress invite to give away later in the show, so stay tuned for that.
So it's a month early this year.
compared to last year it was
June,
the end of June, June 27th.
Yeah, so it's what 4 to 6 weeks earlier this year than it was last year. So
what are we going to see? We're going to see some more from Android at home, since apparently that is now making a comeback after 2 years of being hiatus. Is it? Are we going to see the next version of Android announced? Maybe Android 5.0, or who cares about the version number? It could be version 4.9. Doesn't really matter. We'll see. Most likely Keyline Pi announced, which was teased this week via a cartoon graphic. So there's a lot of things. It's way too early to even speculate at this point, but it's exciting to know that I/O's coming up.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see new devices, because what else are they going to do? The question is, what are they going to be? I think they'll probably come up with some kind of replacement or upgrade for the Nexus 7, because that's what they did last year. But then I think they're probably going to push into some of the other areas, not the obvious smartphone and tablets.
How about, Dan, that rumored 11.6-inch touchscreen laptop?
Things like that.
Laptop or Chromebook?
Chromebook.
Well, I wouldn't call it a Chromebook yet, because we don't know if it's going to.
I don't think Google would want to push out something that's not a Chromebook or a Android tablet or an Android phone.
However, there is rumors speculating that Google is talking to suppliers and looking into having their own branded 11.6-inch tablet with a touch, or not tablet, notebook with a touchscreen. What?
They have been submitting a lot of commits as far as trying to get touch interface on the Chrome OS in general. I don't know how soon.
So, are we going to see some type of marriage between Android and Chrome OS in the near future? Who knows? But a lot of speculation, a lot of time to hash things out and try to figure out what the hell is going to happen.
Well, if you really think about it, there is kind of a marriage going on right now. They're engaged. Because all the content's the same, and you pretty much have everything on your phone as opposed to on your Chromebook, pretty much.
Maybe from a Google Apps standpoint,
that's
maybe
what I'm
from Angry Birds and Cut the Rope, but
I know, but
I think one of the applications we're about to discuss a little bit later is a key to that too. So,
all right, so let's move on here. Let's talk about some usage statistics here. It's the beginning of a new month, therefore we have new usage statistics for Android. No surprise, 50% of the market is still gingerbread. That's unfortunate, as gingerbread is old.
2 years old.
But hey, it's slowly getting eaten away by Ice Cream Sandwich, which is now up to 27.5%, and Jelly Bean, which is trucking right along at near 7%.
Yeah, that's impressive for Jelly Bean. Considering how slow ICS was, Jelly Bean is moving a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's talk Android-related news. Let's talk about some Google Plus stats that was released the other day, Scott.
Okay, so Google Plus stats: 500 million upgraded users. Now, the definition of an upgraded user is they have an account, correct?
Well, it's somebody that migrated their YouTube account over. There's
basically anybody that's associated a Google Plus.
There's somebody that plus one's an account on the Google Play Store, or I'm sorry, plus one's an app. It's somebody that plus one's a website. They may have created a Google Plus account when they turn their phone on or tablet on for the first time. That doesn't mean they're actually posting, but that comes, that comes next in the next part of the stats.
And then we had they announced 235 million of those 500 million upgraded users are active across Google, not Google Plus, just Google.
Yeah, and so those are the people who are plus oneing things relatively consistently, not just, I did that once and sort of accidentally stumbled upon this Google Plus upgraded account, but people who are actively plus oneing and writing reviews on Google Play now is tied into Google Plus. So anything that's sort of Google Plus authenticated like that, that's these people.
Yeah, and then of those 235 million, the 135 million of those are active on Google Plus. So I like those numbers, and I think that it's definitely growing, and they're releasing a lot more features and things that we'll talk about in a little bit about, that tie them in better and all the products.
You know what's neat about that 135 million active users in the stream is Twitter has 140 million. So, for argument's sake, you can just say that Twitter has the same amount of active users that Google Plus does. 5 million's nothing.
And you can make the argument that 90% of Twitter are bots.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, they literally just auto-post links.
Yeah, and that's considered an active user that just auto-posts things, and you can't auto-post on Google Plus. So,
it's true.
That 135 is publicly active. So if somebody is active but always just privately posting, that is not counted.
Which I know.
Exactly. And there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that only share to circles. I get people.
I would say at least 5 million to put it on parity with Twitter.
Actually, 2 or 3 of you that I know that are probably watching this share stuff to me right now all the time in limited posts. Trevor.
Yeah.
Oh, there was my DNA ding, which we'll talk about in a minute. All right, so getting back to some more stats.
All right, so Google Plus released Google Plus Communities. I just was introduced to this. Derek, you want to explain it a little bit better?
All right, so this is my very quick and dirty thing. I mean, most likely, if you're watching this now, you've been playing with communities the past hour or so, and you realize that there's 417 billion Android communities already available, and that'll eventually weed itself out, and you'll find your own niche and everything. But so, in my opinion, this is definitely an opinion here. Google Plus communities are Circles 2.0. I'm coining that phrase right now. So. Initially, Circles, in the very beginning, people really didn't know what to use Circles for. So we were categorizing people on Google Plus. Hey, Dan posts a lot about Android. I'm going to put him in my Android circle, or I know he loves Android. I'm putting him in my Android circle. So I have all these people that I know that love Android. I know they post Android stuff. They're in my Android circle, and that's great. And that's how I organize people. But for reading, Circles aren't that good because Dan posts a lot of politics. Dan posts a lot of anything Dan wants to, including Android. So if I click on my Android circle, I see all of you that post your Android stuff, but I also see your Catterday and your Ginger Thursday and your whatever the hell was, Waterfall Wednesday. I mean, I see everything. And that has nothing to do with Android, but besides the fact that you're in my circle about Android. So Circles 2.0, or Google Plus Communities, allows you to go to that Android community where people were only talking about Android, only sharing Android posts, and so forth and so forth. And there's as granular as you want. Inside that community, I can have maybe people talking about custom ROMs, or talking about rooting, and it's a forum. It really is, but it's like a circle because you can share directly to it. So I think it's neat. I think it's gonna create an entire new feel for reading, on Google Plus. You're going to have your circles are going to be organization, but for reading, you're really not so much, in my opinion, anymore going to read by circles. You're going to read by community. I could be wrong on that.
I have a Circles 3.0. It'll be even deeper into Google Plus communities. So let's say I have in my Android circle 200 people, and of those people, 100 people are they post Android stuff in the Android community, okay? If you went to the Android community page, show only people in your circles, and you got your stream right there, right?
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it could just be a filter, toggle on and off, limit to circle, don't limit.
Yeah, and then if you want to be introduced to new people that are talking about Android, then you turn it off.
Yeah.
Very simple, easy way. You can discover all you want, and you can just kind of say to your own things if you want.
Also good parental control.
Yes. Yeah. Very true.
And I guess the next question is how soon is communities going to make it to the mobile applications now?
Yeah.
Until you can really make it legit, where you can.
The mobile app yet.
Personally, I think that they need to focus on other things for the mobile app, like bug fixes and stupid stuff that's happening. But
I'm wondering that's why they're holding off, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean they're making progress, but it's just not there. Okay, so we had a huge update for Google Now voice search updates. First of all, it's a lot faster. You guys agree with that?
Speed increase, to be honest with you. I just noticed all the new card editions and voice editions.
What phone are you using it on?
I'm using it on my HTC DNA as well as the Nexus 7.
Okay, so that might be why. My Galaxy Nexus has got a lot faster compared to what it was.
Oh, yeah. See, it was always fast on my Nexus 4.
I didn't get to see it on my Nexus 4 since I sold it a week ago. But let's get into these updates here, Scott.
So we got a lot of new cards. The integration with Google Now is increasing at a very rapid rate. Google Goggles is going to die very soon, and I'll get to that. Events nearby. So let's say there's a Vikings game coming up versus the Bears. That's one of the events. You click on it, and like local bands that are playing. I don't know what else was in there.
I see tons of sports that are up to an hour and a half, 2-hour drive away because I don't have any too many local teams. But yeah, so I see them all over cards. So
comedy shows, things like that. Yeah. I'm seeing around downtown.
Yeah, so. It's very cool.
Yeah, and then suggestions to help you with your research. This is like if you're doing some research projects for school, or if you're just interested in something and want to do research on it. Kind of a cool feature, although the links do not open on your desktop, which is kind of annoying, but they'll fix that.
Now, Scott, now let's say, so you're searching on your desktop, right? So you're searching about something, and so suggestions to help you with your research pops up on Google Now when you're looking at your phone later and you're out and about. You click on the link, it opens it up in Chrome. Then when you get home, you use the little other devices in Chrome and bring that in from your phone onto your desktop computer.
Yeah, but if you share that link to your desktop, it doesn't work.
Okay. I haven't tried that yet. Good to know.
Yeah. Boarding passes from Gmail, United only. Basically, that's with a
QR code.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm flying here in a week.
On United?
Maybe I'll be able to tell. I don't even know if it's United yet. Honestly, I don't have my boarding pass, or I don't even know what flight I'm flying out on. Well, if it is United, I'll test it out.
That is a direct competitor with Apple's Passbook. So it's kind of interesting that they're just saying, "Hey, we'll put that in our app, and we'll compete with you." And do that.
We don't even need to make a new application or little system of our own. We're just gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we're just going to pull it from Gmail and put it in something that is relevant and is location searched and, time aware. And then we have search by camera. You can actually search museums, shops, pretty much anything.
Which is Google Goggles.
Yeah, it literally is. And in Google Now, you can just, in the search, say scan, and it'll pop it up. And it works just fine. It's kind of cool. Google Goggles is going to be gone here within, I say, 6 months to 8 months.
I think you still have to keep it around for people that aren't on ICS or Jelly Bean above.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's definitely getting integrated into an existing platform. Because Google Now, Google Search, the knowledge graph, everything. I mean, that is an existing platform.
Yeah. Weather at upcoming travel destinations. I like this, not necessarily for travel, but like when I'm going to be going to a different city, I guess you can call it traveling, but for like a meeting. It's nice to see that. It's location aware with where
when I'm going out to CES here in another month, and it knows I'm traveling based upon the email and hotel and the flight emails I have, so it's going to know I'm going to be traveling, and it pops up and says, "Hey, Derek, out in Las Vegas, it's going to be XYZ degrees." That's going to be great. I think that's cool.
And then approximate monthly summary of walking and biking activity. So the walking activity we did see, it was orange around Halloween, I believe. I don't know how they're going to do the...
November 1st, actually biking was already in there as well. If you biked or if you walked, the pedometer...
How do they determine if you bike or walk?
Well, I'm going to guess without...
Maybe a fast walker, but the slow...
It has to deal with GPS tracking your speed and the accelerometer, I assume.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, your phone has all sorts of gyros and accelerometers in it, so it'll let you know.
Thingamabobbers. And then another nice integration, but it's not there yet, is birthday integration from Google+. Now,
it's there.
I haven't seen it.
If I pull it up right now, I guarantee you I have 4 or 5 people's birthdays right now.
Yeah, but not in your contacts, just Google+.
They are 100% just in Google+.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It would be nice to have my contacts that are not on Google+ pulled in there as well. My contact calendar for birthdays. It'd be nice if they pulled everything.
I'm surprised they don't actually pull it from
Google to
calendar
support people that aren't using their platform.
Agreed, but okay, maybe they'll force people just to use that.
I'm surprised they don't back end that data point with calendar though, and not with.
Yeah, but to Derek's point, they do want more people on Google+, so that makes a good point.
Right, but the Google Plus birthdays are already populated on your calendar, making that a better data source since it encompasses all that's on Google Plus other stuff.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes. They could definitely pull it from different areas. Okay, voice actions. Got some new voice actions. You can post to Google+, say post to Google+, and then say whatever you want. That's kind of nice.
Now you can also say post to Twitter and it works. You can also say post to Facebook. It does not work. So apparently these are unsupported, undocumented features that are coming in the future. That's probably why it doesn't work, or because someone commented earlier that that's because the Facebook app doesn't work, it has a bug, or does sharing to it doesn't work too well, or something like that. But post to Twitter, if you have the official Twitter app installed, it 100% works.
Cool. And then also, what's this song? You can say to find the song you hear. The problem I see with this, it did work for me, and Derek, I know it didn't work for you, correct?
Yeah, I'll rant about that in a second. You go ahead and tell your story.
Well, the problem that I see about this is, let's say you're listening to music. How is it going to get your voice while the music's going, and you're going to search for it because it's going to be in the track, and they're going to pull the music from behind, and it's going to get all mumble jumbled. So it
all depends on how loud your music is, Scott.
Yeah, if you have to shout at the phone to get it to you in the first place.
If you're holding your phone up saying, "What song is this?" then yeah, you probably need to turn down your music.
Okay, first of all, that'd be kind of cool if you're like at a concert or whatever. It's just really, really, really loud. Okay.
So let me talk about that. So this came out yesterday afternoon. I was like, yeah, all excited, gonna test it out. What song is this? Boom, Google search, force closes. Huh, that kind of sucks. Try it again. What song is this? And it just recycles the prompt. Okay, let's try it again.
English?
Yeah, well, no. So I keep saying, what song is this? And every single time it either force closed or it cycled back, like it didn't even hear me. And I talked to a few other people that had the HTC Droid DNA, and it seems that it is a HTC Sense issue, and it's not entirely a Sense issue. Like Sense is bad in stopping it. It's the fact that Sense, or the current version of Sense, doesn't include files needed to do that. So I started thinking, and I was like, well, it's using Google Ears. It's using the sound search widget basically to be able to do that. So I side-loaded the Google Ears APK onto my phone. I said, "What song is this?" And it worked last night.
Interesting.
And then at some point, after some of the people that I had talked to, they had then contacted HTC and Google, and I don't know if it was because of them contacting them or not, but Google server-side patched it that now the HTC Droid DNA, it doesn't do anything at all. It says this feature is not supported on this device. So, it worked 100% fine if you side-loaded the APK, but not everybody knows how to do that, nor should they have to do that. So Google did the right thing, so their app wasn't appearing to be broken. They disabled that feature server-side. So even if you do have the APK side-loaded, it's not going to work until Google changes it on the back end saying these devices are allowed to, but I don't see them doing that until HTC decides to push out an update to include the Google Ears APK.
Yeah, that also means even if you're running a custom ROM.
I was talking about people about that. They said, "Oh, that's fine, Derek. Just run a custom ROM." I'm like, well, it's probably looking at my build.proc to see what hardware I'm running. And as soon as Google Now or Google Search sees that I'm using this device that isn't supported, no matter what I'm doing to make it supported by having the right stuff installed, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So what am I going to edit the build-up prop to say I have a Galaxy Nexus or something just so I can use that feature?
That's what you'd have to do. You'd have to, as long as your device reports itself as being Android DNA, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So I would assume eventually that's going to be fixed, but I mean, that sucks. That's a cool feature. But you know what? As long as when I'm running Android 4.2, I have a lock screen widget that is the sound search, which is how I had it on the Nexus 4 before I sold it. That's great. You know, I don't need to yell at my phone, what song is this? I can just flip to the widget, hold the phone up, and good to go.
I mean, the better solution might have been to just push that APK as a standalone app on the market.
That actually is a great idea. Have it be an installable app. Google Ears, a new Google app. Yeah, and if that can be done like that, then that would be great. I think that's actually the easy solution right there.
Google Bunny Ears. Okay, moving on. Google Voice had an update. It fixed the delayed SMS notifications, and it fixed the inbox syncing and duplicate notifications. Thank God it has fixed it.
It was terrible for the last since I get a notification and I have like 180 something text messages from someone.
So what we get from this is we know that they get the bug reports and they get the feedback. So they're listening, but they're just not implementing what we're asking. They're just fixing things. Interesting.
So we had some other app updates. Like I said, this week was a Google app update. Nothing really major besides what we already talked about. I mean, Google Authenticator had some bug fixes and UI improvements. I didn't notice anything.
It's a little bit different, yeah.
Google Translate
had some minor updates, yeah.
Had some minor updates. It can now translate text with your camera.
They could do that before.
Then they did an update.
With more languages.
Nice.
YouTube for Google TV had an update. No updated change logs, so we don't really know exactly what. But hey, it's probably bug fix, minor improvement, whatever. You know, we like the minor improvements. That's fine.
Dropbox, you can move files and folders. That's an awesome update. Something that was lacking on before. Also, performance improvements. Chameleon Launcher. Put up I think 25. They're looking for 25 beta testers for their phone application. They already have all of them, all of the testers right now. But I'm kind of excited to see how they do this and future updates for it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, I think they really haven't gotten the third-party involvement in the widgets that they really need. And I think being tablet-only is limiting for that. So hopefully going to the phone will help things move along.
Phones are definitely a bigger piece of the pie as far as getting adoption. So
yeah, and going back to Google Voice, Eric Kaufman does make a good point. He says that he thinks that they're in a fixed mode only because they're working on their consolidation of communication apps into one, which I really, really hope so, Eric. I really hope so.
I think that's probably what you're going to see.
Yeah, I hope a lot of time and development is going into that.
Me too.
It's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
Gmail got a rather nice update. For ice cream sandwiching up, you get auto-fit messages to screen, and you got message zooming. Swipe messages to archive or delete. You can specify what you want to do in the settings, in the general settings. You can attach photos and videos from within Gmail. Larger photo previews, which is nice because you can actually tell what a photo looks like. And gallery view for photo attachments, just like you would see in the gallery app. It looks exactly like that for the attachments. And then bug fixes, performance improvements for Android 2.2 and up. You got new label APIs for third-party app developers and performance updates. Good update. What do you guys think?
No, definitely.
I haven't found the zooming to work, the pinch to zoom.
It only works on HTML5. If it's an image, then you're not going to be able to zoom in on it because a lot of my Verizon emails and stuff will actually be just a gigantic picture.
Yeah.
You can't zoom in on that in the email.
Okay. So it's not just me.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there also an update for beautiful widgets? Getting all Jelly Bean compatible and lock screen widgets?
Yeah, Tasker got I'm sorry, not Tasker. Tasks by the Tasks team got updated to allow 4.2 lock screen widgets as well, and that's awesome. I've put them on my Nexus 7, and it works well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a really nice job.
If you're not familiar with this app, I shared it maybe even today when they updated the app. It's a very clean, light hollow UI, and it integrates 100% syncs with Google Tasks. And said it's very clean, very simple. You should check it out. They have a free version and another version that costs 99 cents. Yeah. Android developers featured them 6 months ago or so.
Yeah, nice app. If Google made a task app, that's exactly what it would look and perform like because it's on the money.
So let's talk about some device and OEM news here real quick. So, no surprise, the Nexus 4 keeps selling out, and LG says because there's a huge demand.
Though they don't want to tell us how much demand that is.
Well, it's huge. I mean, they're not going to tell us
how huge.
Yeah, they do also mention the fact that they have to supply to many different brick and mortar companies, and so demand is spread. But they said a large portion of that is from the Play Store, and I can't I mean that makes sense because it was released there first. So
well, and it was cheaper there than anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of moron goes and pays $400 for a phone that you can get over there for $300?
Very true.
The problem is you can't get it over there, so it worked out well for the people selling it for $400.
Yeah, and then Qualcomm is to bring low-cost, low-power NFC chips next year, hopefully, and
super low power.
I'm confused about the low-power NFC though. So NFC now uses more power than.
It's not noticeable.
It's very low power. This next generation chip is shrunk down from 40 to 28 nanometers, so right there you're saving a lot of power. When we're talking about extremely low power versus pretty much you could run it off of rubbing a pair of socks together for
wait, that needs to be an integration. Next version of Android, charging your phone by rubbing socks.
Stock powered, gotcha. Static electricity powered versus battery powered, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about dropping it down to next to nothing power, which means that you can have NFC base stations that are just running on like a watch battery.
Yeah, and really like
that be your checkout counter.
And the big news really about this is the low cost part, because a lot more phones, not just the high end phones, but a lot of the lower end phones will adopt this because it won't cost that much to implement it. So Google's push for NFC, I like it, and this will definitely help it out.
Space saving is a big argument too because even you take a phone like the iPhone 5 where they're cramming so much stuff in there, wouldn't even put an extra transceiver in there. That's also, probably a reason why they didn't put an NFC radio in there.
So 40 nanometers for it.
Mm-hmm. So you shrink it down a good little bit, it opens up some flexibility. Or you can just, save space and decide you're going to put a bigger battery in there or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that argument doesn't carry as much weight when they're making.
Not with NFC, but with every other component, you start adding it up.
So let's get to a little bit of LG news here and Galaxy Tab news, and then we'll talk about the Ingress Invite here. Two last little bits of OEM news, device news this week. We had some leaks, and who doesn't love them some leaks? Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about this S4 processor that was leaked to be coming with the LG?
So all we know is that it's called the LG E940, which sounds like
I like that. I like that name.
Yeah, so it looks to be for AT&T. It's got the same S4 Pro that's in the Optimus G and the Nexus 4.
So it's going to scream, right? And it's going to have a larger display.
1080 screen, which I suspect is in the 5-inch range. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than the Optimus G or the Nexus, but it would also be 1080 like the Droid DNA. So no idea when that's coming out or anything more than that, really. And then the Galaxy Tab 2 10.1 is finally getting Jelly Bean 4.1.1, so only slightly behind, but better than the ICS that it had yesterday.
All right, and the last little bit of information here, the Galaxy Tab 2 10.1 is finally getting Jelly Bean. Oh, okay. So, I wasn't paying attention, to be honest with you, as I was talking to my wife.
We do that to Dan sometimes.
I was telling her goodnight. Okay, so the moment you've all been waiting for, the Ingress invite code. We're just gonna do this and cause a whole bit of frenzy here. So each week we do a little bit different when we give them the Ingress invite code away. This week is actually thank you to Scott Anderson. He has an extra code to give away, so thank you, Scott. So what we're gonna do is, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on my reshare, Dan, Scott's, whoever, somebody's reshare, we'll give you a few seconds here to go ahead and go to the Android Authority post, the original post. And while you're viewing that original post, you want to scroll down to the very last comment, because I'm going to post the Ingress code there. So while you're going ahead and finding the original post, those of you that are already there, I want you to pull out your Android phone or tablet, whatever you're going to use.
Or Droid Dix.
Or the HTC Droid DNA. And open up your Ingress app and go ahead and go to the enter passcode, the enter activation code screen. And I'm going to copy and paste this in there, and you guys can fight over it. And congrats to one of you lucky winners. And I just ask that you please let us know who you are, so we can congratulate you, as well as so people can be upset with you that you won and they didn't. So the big question is are you going to join the Resistance, or are you going to join the Enlightened? Let us know. All right, so I'm going to put the code in there. Everybody should be there. Everybody should be waiting for it. And refresh your engines now. Start matching that F5 like you're buying the Nexus 4, or you're getting the new communities on Google+. So I'm assuming right now you guys are frantically typing that code in, Y4FEKZ6G. Congratulations to the lucky winner for Ingress. Let us know if you're a member of the Resistance, if you think XM is bad for humanity and the Shapers are bad, or if you are the Enlightened and you think that this is the evolution of humanity. Dun, dun, dun.
Or if you're one of those people that just wants to get an invite because you want to say that.
Yeah, you just want an invite so you can say you're cool, you know. All right, so let's talk about some carrier news. Dan, since you're rocking T-Mo, I want you to talk about some T-Mo news for us.
Yeah, so they have been rolling out HSPA Plus on their PCS, their 1900 megahertz holdings. So updating basically from 2G to 3G, which sounds silly when everybody's moving to LTE. But the background information on that is that they're building the LTE support. They just haven't sort of turned it on and enabled it yet. But they're now up to 18 markets that they've pushed out HSPA Plus over PCS. So that's 18 markets that the iPhone will get high-speed HSPA Plus on T-Mobile instead of getting slow-speed Edge on T-Mobile. And speaking of the iPhone, T-Mobile is apparently going to start selling Apple products in 2013 as well.
Because they want more market share and they are losing the battle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. You got to do what you got to do to stay afloat, you know.
No problem at all.
Although the executives have also said that this is their deal with Apple is a deal unlike what anybody sort of expects it to be, and said so in a way that sort of is hinting that they got a very favorable deal. So it sounds much more like T-Mobile is. I mean, T-Mobile's been planning on doing this Spectrum reframe. A lot of people are trying to pitch it as this is what they're doing it just to get the iPhone, but realistically, they're doing it so they don't have to carry a 2G network around anymore because, we're all rolling out LTE. Who wants to be dragging this Edge network around?
I think Apple's probably not really in as big of a place of leverage like they were when they were trying to negotiate with Verizon. And you look at Sprint spent a ton of money trying to get adoption, and it helped them a little bit, but I don't even know if they've recovered the initial investment.
They won't until like 2015, and aren't planning to. And T-Mobile's not ready to take that kind of a hit, and so they're in a position where they can say, you know what, we already have 1 million iPhone subscribers. That's 2% of all T-Mobile subscribers are using unlocked iPhones. They're upgrading the network either way. So, they could very much, just go bulk buy iPhones directly from Apple like any other consumer and then resell them at cost as unlocked devices. So Apple really just doesn't have the bargaining power against T-Mobile that they used to. So yeah, they're getting the iPhone, but it's sort of as a fringe. Oh yeah, we can now support the iPhone.
Yeah. AT&T is planning to roll out LTE Advanced.
Yeah.
Right?
In 2013.
Yeah. So, did you see that article about Verizon and their speeds that they were testing, and theoretically with their 500 megabits, that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. No, LTE Advanced is substantially faster. It's also worth noting that's what T-Mobile is planning on rolling out in the first place.
Okay.
So
I'm freaking excited about it.
Oh yeah. That means T-Mobile, once they roll out their LTE, they're going to have HSPA plus 42 as their backbone. So not falling back to CDMA like you do on Verizon, or to AT&T's comparatively slow HSPA plus, or to Sprint's CDMA, but falling back to 42 megabit HSPA plus. And then on top of that, you get LTE Advanced that already has built in all of the support for transferring voice calls handoff directly from voice over LTE to HSPA plus to GSM.
I really, really, really hope this type of technology shakes up the data cost, but I can also see it as them keeping it the same and just taking advantage of, hey, businesses, why do you use an expensive landline now? Oh, yeah. We have the same speeds, if not better, and you can be mobile while using it. Yeah. I see that them making a lot of money off businesses in regards to that. So,
yeah, they're still going to have problems because there's still very high usage people that just can't afford to drop down to a 5 gigabyte a month limit that they can afford, right? I use anywhere from 1 to 200 or even 300 or 400 gigabytes of traffic a month on my computer. I can't, I couldn't possibly afford a Verizon LTE plan that would do that.
I don't think Verizon, if you had the people that do landlines, I don't think they have enough spectrum to honestly support that like a landline could either. Not anywhere near that to be. It would be great for mobile businesses though, like Scott said. It'd be construction sites and places like that would be
instantaneous. Pretty cool.
Pretty much kill your whole, kill your home business in the process of not having to have.
Yeah, and think of pushing that speed in your battery a couple minutes. But yeah, AT&T also added 6 more LTE markets. They're playing catch up very slowly but surely. We'll see how that. And the LTE towers that they're rolling out, Dan, those can be upgraded to LTE Advanced pretty easily. Is it brand new hardware?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they and Verizon both are building on release 8. The first release that is considered LTE Advanced is 10. That's what T-Mobile is rolling out. Okay. Sprint is also using 8. I can't remember if it's Verizon or Sprint that's done some other things to sort of take some parts of the further up releases out of it. But yeah, no, they're all going to have to do actual physical hardware updates at all of their sites.
Okay.
It might be more or less a firmware update, but it means going to every tower and physically making changes there at the tower.
So ultimately more investment for the upgrade as opposed to a simple switch.
Yep.
Okay. So slower rollout.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas Sprint with their network vision has planned ahead in a way that makes it very, very easy for them to make those kinds of changes because they have a very modular sort of structure to their network now. And T-Mobile, in contrast, is just going straight to the higher release. So, They don't really
Then
have to.
U.S. Cellular is testing voice over LTE.
Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation that that's very bad for battery life.
Yeah, I saw some studies done on it, and they didn't look that good.
No, I mean, it's not surprising using LTE.
It's very young, though. I mean, and it's very young, so I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that voice over LTE is battery intensive because anything else over LTE is battery intensive.
Currently.
Are they, when they're testing, I haven't looked a lot into it, but are they using a higher, I'm sure they're using a higher bandwidth with, I mean, because one of the big marketing pushes for voice over LTE is getting
clarity.
Yeah, a lot better clarity and over a wider frequency
about
range.
like 256 kilobyte audio though.
And that's nothing for an LTE network.
Yeah, that's.
So I would imagine that in order to get the audio quality up, you don't need to push the bit rate that much. So it wouldn't really be that much of a data intensive. There would be no reason to pull a 10 megabit or a 1 megabit, bandwidth for a, voice line.
Yeah, we're not sending WAV files over the...
Right, I mean, you wouldn't even hit that limit during video chat.
Yeah, that's true. And then Dish is rumored to sell phones at Blockbuster.
Yeah, weird rumor.
Don't understand that at all.
Well, Dish is continuing to try to get into the mobile market. I don't really know how they expect to sell phones at Blockbuster, though. That's so strange.
More power to them, but
I've seen like one Blockbuster store in the last year. I've seen more of it shut down than seen functioning ones at this
being
point.
Demolished.
Yeah, I think Blockbuster is going to see its end before the end of 2013. Mark my words. Okay, Dan, your time to rage. You love raging, so let's hear your rage.
I do. So there's been tons of articles in the news lately about this Android engagement problem, how Android users don't use their browser because Android devices are just so complicated because, apparently using a browser is hard to do.
It's difficult.
On Android because it's more Android-y and less browser-y than anywhere else. I don't know. The bottom line with this is, well, everybody's freaking out about how, oh man, Android has so much more market share and so much less browser share. What's wrong? Why don't people use their Android devices? What they're not following up on that is Android users use more data. So clearly they are using the internet more, they're just not using the browser. So if you're using your Facebook application, for example, and not facebook.com in the browser, that would be you using your device but not browsing. And then there's another big problem. Every browser on iOS reports as being iOS. Every browser on Android does not report as being Android. The stock AOSP Android browser does. Some OEM replaced browsers will. Chrome for Android does not. Firefox for Android does not. I don't know about Dolphin and Opera. I think Opera actually just reports generically as being WebKit, which then usually gets reported as being Safari.
I mean, the amount of browsers that there are for Android is ridiculously awesome because people have so much choice, and it's so hard to compile all that data of so many different types of apps.
A lot of those Android browsers report as being iOS, and then a lot of them report as being a desktop browsing client. Plus, Android browsers will let you actually actively go in and change your browsing client so you can switch between iOS, Android, desktop, and various others. So, I would say probably half of Android devices aren't reporting as being Android devices when they're browsing.
I think another thing to take into account is some of the restrictions, because Apple doesn't allow you to do things like in-app purchases. So if you want to buy a Kindle book, you have to log on to Amazon.com and go buy your book, and then open up your application to sync up whatever book you just purchased.
And publishers like Amazon are forcing you to go through the browser to do it because they don't want to give Apple a cut of the sale.
Or you have to do certain things if you want to share a news article with an application that's not baked into Apple's hard coding. You're going to have to open it in a web browser, and you're going to have to copy the link, and you're going to hit home, and you're going to open up the app and make a post from there instead of just hitting a share intent. And
so much stuff that you have to do through the browser in iOS because you can't just do it natively.
Yeah.
Whereas in Android, you can let one application talk to another application. and you don't have to go through the browser.
That's a lot bigger usage scenario that I think a lot of people take into account, because most people just, most people on their phones they're reading news articles, they're reading books, or managing media, or shopping, and that's about the extent of what the average user does.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
All right, well, I think that about does it for this week. I know that last week we didn't have SoundCloud posted or audio posted. Apologize for that. We had some technical difficulties. Large part was Google was lagging behind, but to get by that. So if you guys want to not view us on YouTube, you can always download our podcast on SoundCloud, which actually they just updated their mobile app. Looks a lot different. So if you use SoundCloud to listen to our podcast, it's pretty cool if you want to check it out. Also, we're on Podbean. Also, if you want to see the RSS feed, you can go to androidauthority.com. Bottom right is going to be a little section called On Air. Click that, and you see posts about a day after, kind of summarizing the show and all the links to the different places you can find our information. All right.
Thanks, guys, for watching, and be sure to check us out on various social networks and channels and everything. Have a good evening. Good night.
Good week.